Joining me now is Bob Pockrass. And Bob, I was reading something that you wrote recently as it relates to Nashville and everybody kind of testing this track for the first time in a while. And you said that even though some drivers have a lot of experience and some might not have any experience here, this is going to be sort of a new situation for everybody this weekend. Why do you feel that way?
Well, because there really been no cars on the track for 6 or 7 years since NASCAR banned testing prior to the start of 2015. There just hasn't been much on the track. And when they came in tire tested here a few months ago, the track was so raw, it was eating tires left and right. And so they had to come back again, which is, it's one of the reasons why you test in case you do have to come back again, but it's not something that they normally do. But they had to do it in this situation to find tires that worked. They've put resin down on the track to try to, they ran tires over the resin in hopes, again, kind of the track rubbered in. So, what you knew even about the track 10 years ago from the last time it was actually raced to now is probably different. And of course, cars tend to change over a 10-year span.
Is the consensus out there so far that this resin, which from what I understand or from what I've read is not that typical PJ1 surface that we've seen in the past, is the consensus so far that the resin that's on the track is going to lead to better racing, maybe some more passing and grip?
I think there's a lot of uncertainty about that. I think what the hope is that it allows a set of tires to run to last through a fuel run. So the hope is that with the resin and with the extra tire rubber being put down, or at least having some tire rubber down, that they won't be going through tires every 20 laps.
Where do you see a lack of experience potentially showing on a track like this weekend?
I think if you don't have a lot of experience, you might get frustrated early, and especially because there haven't been a lot of races with practice. And this is one of those where you do get 50 minutes of practice. You do get, a lap in qualifying. So especially for the Cup drivers, just be patient and kind of take what the track gives you, and know that when you practice on Saturday, there's still going to be an Xfinity race after you practice. So the track is going to change. The track will be a little bit different for your race on Sunday than the way you practiced on Saturday.
What's the general consensus been from the drivers about an opportunity to try something new, to be back at this track?
I think that the drivers like going to new places. Nashville certainly is a market that is big on NASCAR. NASCAR had their awards here in 2019, and it was kind of the vibe from that made Dover Motorsports, which owns Nashville Superspeedway, say, hey, we have this track, it's ready to go. If NASCAR wants to race in Nashville, we can do it. And so that's kind of how NASCAR came back to Nashville. And so, I think the drivers are intrigued by, maybe what this track can bring. Some are probably excited. Some maybe who didn't race well here or know that it was difficult to pass, maybe are a little concerned. But I think everybody's glad to be, kind of in this Nashville area.
Is it safe to say that Kyle Larson is the overwhelming favorite going into this race, a track that's got some uncertainty to it? I mean, what needs to be done to kind of get in his way?
Well, I think he's the favorite because he's won the last 3 events, right? He's won the last 2 Cup points races and the All-Star race. So he's certainly got momentum on his side, and he certainly doesn't have to worry about if things go bad, right? Like he's got a lot of playoff points. This is a race. I don't call any race a throwaway race, but this is a race where he could try something, and if it doesn't work, oh well. This racetrack is not going to apply to a lot of other tracks. So drivers aren't going to be coming here and saying, oh man, if I'm bad here, I'm going to be bad at these next 5 races. So I think for Kyle Larson, just knowing that, hey, this track doesn't apply to much else, knowing I'm on a roll, knowing I have confidence in my team, that can go a long, long way.
Who does need to be worried this weekend based on past performances so far this season?
Well, I think a guy like Kevin Harvick, he hasn't won a race this year after winning 9 last year, hasn't led a lot of laps. This is a track where he won at back, I want to say, in the Xfinity Series. So he probably feels like he has a good, at least somewhat of a handle on it. So I think for him, this will be a track that says, hey, are we making a few steps forward, or are we still kind of struggling in that 5th to 10th place mode?
And what about Denny Hamlin? What does Denny Hamlin need to do to break through, to get that win?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the series points leader, although Kyle Larson's has been cutting into that lead. But I think Denny just needs to maybe relax a little bit, him and his team, and know that what they were doing early in the season worked, and potentially go, if they made some changes, to go back to that, and to know that as long as you keep leading laps, that the time will come where you will win a race. And look, Denny Hamlin is not a guy who lacks confidence. That's not one of Denny Hamlin's issues. So I think he's fine. I think he knows that, that there's some ups and downs in the season, but he also knows that they've been fast most weeks and faster than his teammates for the most part. So he isn't all that concerned.
Given some of the unknowns at the track surface, Bob, and the fact that some drivers are unfamiliar with this place more than other tracks, how likely is it that we'll see an outside contender maybe do something this Sunday, surprise some people this Sunday?
Well, I think that the chance for that comes with tire wear and tire strategy. Nobody really knows exactly how the tires are going to handle, and so if it looks like that, maybe you can stay out on an old set of tires, which would seem really risky. But if you have nothing to lose and it's a short run to the end, maybe you try it. I think that's really kind of the only way you'll see us as somebody who does something with tires, because you don't have a lot of data, right? You can't go back to past races here with this being the first Cup race, and there not having been any racing here since 2011.
Just lastly, Bob, before I let you go, who would you give the edge to heading into Sunday right now?
Oh, that's a great question. I go with Kyle Busch, mainly because this is a track where he does have a lot of laps, did do a lot of racing here before it closed. You have the infamous guitar smash, right, in victory lane. So he has a lot of history here. But I think he's also a driver who can take what's given to him and thrive. So I would look for Kyle Busch to be strong this weekend.
With a sold-out crowd, I'm sure it's going to be pretty loud in Music City. Bob Pockrass from Fox Sports, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks, Carolyn.